Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's regular County Council meeting for April 9th. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 9:30 a.m. And I will start with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge Athabasca County is located on First Nations Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 traditional territory. We respect and honor all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples' connection to these lands, their history, language, and culture. We are at 2.1, the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes? I would like to put a motion on the floor to delete 5.1 from the agenda. And the reason being is that according to Robert's Rules of Order, section 37.9, it is not appropriate to reconsider an amendment. The amendment must be part of the motion as a whole. And because that was voted on, it's not a valid reconsideration. Is there any discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Explanation on that as to how does it affect it? Does the motion that was made with the amendment stay as presented before, or does it revert back to what it was prior to?
It would just stay as it was, as it originally was. If it's chosen to be deleted and we haven't gone forward, it would just stay as it was originally was.
Prior. Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other discussion?
No.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm still a little confused. Does it stay at what we voted for?
Originally, yes. If we choose to delete it from the agenda.
Right.
And we don't discuss it, we can be, have that discussion. But if we choose to delete it, everything stays as it was originally.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? If we're ready for the vote, all those.
Recorded vote, please.
Okay, thank you. If we're ready for that, all those in favor? Councillor DeHollick, Councillor Chisholm, Councillor Chamzik, Reeve Holland, Deputy Reeve Minns, Councillor Stasiak, and those opposed, Councillor Hall, Councillor Callahoo, and Councillor Kapitaniak. Thank you. All right. Are there any other further additions, changes that anyone would like to make, deletions? Okay. We will now go around the table for councillors to identify the items they wish to discuss. The items that I understand we are to discuss are 2.1, 3.1, 5.2, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 8.1, 8.2, and all of enclosed items 12.1 through 12.5. Okay, are there any others that councillors would like to add to that list? We're good. May I have a motion to? Thank you. Motion from Councillor Callahoo to receive the agenda, approve the agenda as amended.
Items again, please.
Yes, for sure. 2.1, 3.1, 5.2, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 8.1, 8.2, and all of closed session items 12.1 through 12.5. Okay. Councillor Callahoo's put a motion on the floor to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor? And opposed? We have that 7 and 2. Thank you. So the approval of the minutes is next. That's 3.1. I do have one change for clarity purposes that I would like to make. It is on page 9 of your agenda package. It's with regards to resolution CC 26-168. For clarity purposes, the original motion, or the motion that's on the minutes is saying moved by Councillor Hall to table this item indefinitely. For clarity purposes, if we could remove the words this item and replace them with bylaw 12-2026, that would clarify that particular motion. Are there any other changes or items for the minutes? Okay. Make the motion to approve the minutes as amended from Counselor DeHolick. If we're all ready for the motion or the vote, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? Thank you, 9-0. And we will go to 5.2 of your agenda package, which is on page 15. This is a reconsideration for CC 26165, provided as a notice of motion from Counselor Stasiak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to speak on behalf of this.
Oh, as a point of order. Are these things that we're allowed to speak on?
Sorry,
Are these items that we're allowed to speak on under a procedural bylaw?
yes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I presented this motion of reconsideration based on a few thoughts that I had had during the day, as well as some that came up after the fact. And as you all know, sorry.
I'm sorry, pardon me, point of order was placed and I incorrectly gave the ruling on that. 13.5, no discussion of the question has should be decided or shall be allowed until the motion for reconsideration is carried. I apologize.
What's
So
that
we should
mean?
actually go right directly to the vote, whether or not we would like to reconsider it.
Oh, I see.
And then we can. I
Sure.
apologize for that. Thank you, Councillor Hall. So on the vote to reconsider, it requires 2/3 vote. We're going to reconsider it, then we can discuss it. If we're ready for that vote, all those in favor to reconsider? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 2/3 opposed. Okay, we have, okay, so the reconsideration.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As I said earlier, I had some thoughts about this after the fact, and I felt that because the motions that were made that particular day were defeated based on a tie vote, in my opinion, does not represent an actual opinion or a fact of all of council. So I brought it back for reconsideration. Now, there were different thoughts of the number that should be used, and I encourage somebody who has a better idea to come up with a number. This, of course, that you're all aware that this is based on the minimum tax rate that we were trying to establish. And we started out at $100. We went down to 30. We went to 50. And based on a tie vote, they were defeated. And I feel, in all fairness, that we should have a majority vote to establish a true value of what we all agree on. So, as I said, I have my opinion on how it should be, and I would not shy at all to tell you that I think it should be eliminated totally, but that's only me. So if somebody wants to make a motion, or am I expected to make a motion? Okay, well, after all the consideration that we had, there was, like I said, there was discussion on 100, on 30, and on 50, and I thought that, in all fairness, meeting in the middle at $50 would be a compromise on everybody's behalf. So I would like to make that motion that we try make $50 fly here today, and hopefully it passes and we move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion on, please go ahead, Councillor Hall.
So I'm going to say this is a really troubling precedent. What we've just heard is we need to redo votes when the right people aren't at the table. What the suggestion is that quorum needs to be 9. The fact is the MGA says that votes are defeated on a tie. There was no majority to make the decision. Therefore, the decision of council is made. So this to me is us not respecting the decision of council. And it suggests that we can't make decisions if not all 9 agree, or if one person disagrees, we should redo it until they get their way. Or if one person is missing that might have tipped the balance, we should strategize and put it back on the agenda. You know, we hear lots of talk about Robert's Rules of Order. Roberts would prohibit the reconsideration of this motion. Now, our procedural bylaw, because of poor wording, allows it. Typically, when you're on the side that does not prevail, you don't get to keep bringing back what you didn't win on. It's over. But our procedural bylaw allows, if you voted yes, this to come back. So that's in order. But I guess council made a choice. And I think it's improper we're even having a conversation about this right now.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Councillor Stasiak?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Through the chair to Councillor Hall. It was not the fault of one of our colleagues that she did not attend. She was locked out through electronic failure, and that was primarily why I thought that in all fairness, she should have been allowed to participate. I feel that council, this would be just a quick decision. If council feels inclined to support, fine. If not, fine. Let's move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kaptaniak?
I'd just like to point out that earlier this month, council punished a councillor for making every effort to attend and be part of the vote. So I find it interesting that we would reconsider based on someone being missing. But in any case, I'd like to make amendment to the motion and make the minimum tax $30 per year. Thank you.
I don't believe the amendment would be valid due to the motion for the $30.
Well, you know, we change the rules whenever. I thought I'd give it a try.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? I know for myself, I think there's more to this reconsideration. And I know it's been a tool that's been used quite often by yourself, Councillor Hall. So I'm a little surprised at your concern here today. However, I know during that discussion that day, there was also some confusion amongst our brand new councillors as to how those votes take place. I was asked from Councillor Stasiak, as an example, I thought maybe the Reeve could break the tie, right? So there was that unknown purpose, and it was unknown to others that 4-4 was a fail. So I'm happy to see that the reconsideration is here so that it gives our new councillors an opportunity to, it was a learning curve at that time. And the new councillors now have an understanding of how this particular, when these situations arise, how it happens. So I'm happy to see that the reconsideration is here. I am in favor of lowering the minimum tax to $50. I have given several discussions over this past while with regards to why, and, you know, basically, without going into great detail of repeat, I think everyone understands that it is not desired by many of our residents to have a $100 minimum tax, and it has really put a strain on quite a few of our main producers, as well as our Crown land leases, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm all in favor of the $50 minimum tax. Thank you for bringing forward. Councillor Calhoun.
I was also in favor of the 50. I felt we had some good discussion. There was absolutely some learning curves, but in saying that, then why aren't we reconsidering everything that happened last meeting, right? Like, why is it just this one? There was other examples of tiebreakers, whatever, last meetings as well. But I do agree with you. I do support the $50.
Thank you. Did you want me to answer the why the others aren't being reconsidered?
Sorry, I was being facetious. You don't have to answer that.
I didn't quite hear you, sorry.
I was being a little facetious. You don't have to answer that.
Oh, well, okay, thank you. Councillor Hall.
Well, myself, I agree with Ken, you know, that it should have actually been 0 or 30, but compromise, you know, 50. I can live with that.
Thank you. Councillor Stasiak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just for clarity, when Councillor Kapitaniuk asked for 30 and that was declined, why was that? Can I get clarification on that?
Because the vote had taken place last meeting and was defeated.
Oh, I
And
see.
because it was not a reconsideration for
Okay, the
today.
consideration was for 50, not for 30.
Correct.
I understand. Thank you.
Councillor Hall.
So we heard that not everybody understands procedural bylaw, but it was on the agenda as a discussion item a couple of weeks ago. So I think at that point, by that point in the term, everybody would have read the procedural bylaw. But if you haven't, I would bring your attention to section 4.6, which defines that if there are an equal number of votes for and against a resolution, it is defeated in accordance with section 186 of the Municipal Government Act. I do have, I'm going to say from a different framework, I have a concern that we're We're tacking this on after the budget discussions. It was not part of our priority setting. That's part of the package later today, and nowhere on that list that I see eliminating the minimum tax. And when I think we had the assessor here last week or 2 weeks ago, so when 3,117 people are going to see a tax increase of between 1 and 10% changes up in their taxes, I just wonder how we're going to look those people in the eye and tell them we've just made a decision to cut and lower the taxes to the lowest taxed property class. This is not well thought out. This is a mistake. And like, I get it. We're going to keep running back against it till we get our way, but I would like it to be a recorded vote, and I will be voting opposed.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? So Councillor Stasiak would like to make the motion to lower the minimum tax to $50. If we're ready for the vote, it's recorded. All those in favor? Councillor DeHollick, Councillor Chisholm, Councillor Chamzik, Reeve Holland, Deputy Reeve Mins, Councillor Stasiak, Councillor Callahoo. And those opposed? Councillor Kapitanic and Councillor Hall. Thank you. All right. Our next item we have on our agenda is 6.1, which is bylaw 006-2026, the land use bylaw amendment for Northeast 246820 west of the 4th. It is on page 16 of your agenda package, 16 to 28. And we have administration here. Would you like to speak on the administrative report?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of council. So Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 0826088 is located west of Alberta Pacific Forestry Industries, or known as ALPAC, and approximately 16 kilometers northwest of the hamlet of Grassland. The redistricting is proposed for the northern 19.5 acres of Lot 1, identified on the Schedule A with a yellow border to facilitate a work camp, which is not listed as a use in the agricultural district. During the internal referral circulation, Infrastructure Services confirmed that the new approach was installed in accordance with the county standards, and that Range Road 200 had an 8-meter wide road top with good gravel surface and good drainage. If the redistricting is successful and the applicant submits a development permit application for the work camp, a road use agreement will be required, including an obligation for dust control in front of the residence located on Southeast 246820 west of the 4th. The southern part, approximately 26.44 acres of Lot 1, will remain as agricultural district to ensure the existing development, which is a dwelling, remains compliant with the regulations of the land use bylaw. Lot 1 is within the growth node policy area overlay according to map 4 of the municipal development plan, and the overlay represents existing concentration of commercial, light and heavy industrial development in areas that the county council has identified as having growth potential as employment centers. Although there is a watercourse located on the western boundary of Lot 1, there are no wetlands identified within the provincial wetland inventory database for the area identified where the landscaping and proposed work camp would be placed. First reading to bylaw 006-2026 was given on January 29th, and a public hearing was held on February 26th at 9:30 a.m. A registry of submissions was prepared and copies were circulated to members of council, administration, and those present at the public hearing. Each submission was recorded during the hearing. In addition, council heard presentation from residents in favor and in opposition of 006-2026. The public hearing was closed at 10:52 a.m. The purpose of the light industrial district is to permit opportunities for light industrial and manufacturing uses appropriate in specific locations as determined by council, which will support and serve the regional oil and gas, agricultural, and forestry industry bases. Upon approval of bylaw 006-2026, applications made for the uses listed in sections 11.16 of the land use bylaw. As a work camp is a discretionary use, it would have to be advertised and a 21-day appeal period for anyone who feels they are affected by the decision.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cloutier. All right, we have a recommendation here, of course, for second and third reading. Is there discussion? Would anyone like to go forward with second reading? Where are we at? Counselor Stacey?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Through the chair to administration. The infrastructure services went and did an inspection and they found that there was an 8-meter wide road top as well as ample gravel. Further down, it said there was no wetlands identified in the inventory database. When was the last time that that database was brought to a current status, first of all? Is the provincial government aware of this application and the possibility by renewing the database and maybe identifying it? Maybe back in the day it wasn't identified, but that doesn't mean it isn't that today. Back to the first question, who inspected the road and said that there was adequate gravel on it and that the top was 8 meters?
Madam Chair, members of council, I don't have an exact time as when the wetland inventory database was done. That is provincial. It's GeoDiscovery. It's a provincial database we use, and they were notified. Alberta Environment was sent a referral as part of the application. So they were aware of the application, and Infrastructure Services does our inspections. I don't know of any particular employee that goes out, but it is a response from that department. So they did go out and inspect, and that was the response that planning had received as comments for this file.
Okay, thank you. I have others too, but go ahead.
Okay, you're good, or would you like to? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Another concern I had, and I understand we're dealing here with a rezoning bylaw at this point, but in the development end of it later on, do you have any indication of what the energy source is going to be out there? As far as generators, is there a power line? Is there, like, what source of energy is going to be used to fire this thing up?
Madam Chair, members of council, I don't have the answer for that. I do know that for our redistricting, our utility services are part of the referral. If there was any concerns, they have an opportunity to provide comments if there's any upgrades needed or if there's any additional requirements. I believe there is power and water and sewer because there is a residence located on Lot 1. So they would have to make that application for their new service or their new connections once the application is submitted.
Can I add? Thank you for that. I'll have to be blunt here. My concern is, and I need information on this. As I said earlier, I've done a lot of thinking about this. Is there going to be a generator running the work camp? Bottom line.
Madam Chair, members of council, I don't have that answer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to discuss? Councillor Chisholm?
Madam Chair, my concerns, of course, is the rezoning, taking some of our prime agricultural land and make it into all these backyard industrial lots. And I know there's some good things and there's some bad things to the whole thing. But I also have a question, and maybe this is to admin because I don't really, maybe they can explain the whole procedure. But from what I understand, wasn't there already some development done prior to this ever coming to us? Is that the proper way of doing? And maybe explain it to me. From what I understand, there was some pilings already established on this proposed request, and then it has come to us after the fact.
Madam Chair, members of council, the redistricting came to council through an application for the rezoning, which would allow a work camp use. Administration did receive a development permit application for landscaping and temporary storage of mobile units, camp units on site. The conditions of approval was that they were temporary in nature until the rezoning would be, if approved, and completed a new application for development permit for the permanent structures would have to be in place. And if the rezoning is unsuccessful, they would have to be removed from the property. And also that development permit allowed for some landscaping onto lot 1. So those were an issued development permit that was issued in February of 2026.
Thank you.
Is there any further? Counselor Stasiak?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Through administration, on page 24 of 206, can you help me understand and clarify to me where landscaping and putting these trailers on was a permitted or even a discretionary use? I'm not disputing it. I'm just asking for you to explain to me where you found that, because I can't.
Madam Chair's point of order.
And your point of order is?
This is a discussion around a land use bylaw change, not a dig into a previously authorized development permit. I think we're not even talking to a motion here, so we're wandering all over, but I would submit we are wildly off topic. The agenda item is a land use bylaw change, not a development permit that administration issued.
Thank you for the point of order. However, the development permit is mentioned in the administrative report. I believe it is on page, have it in front of me, 17, but yes, the development permit D 002/2026 is mentioned in the administrative report. So I believe councillors are able to ask questions with regards to it, because it is mentioned.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just would like to be very, very clear here. I understand where we're starting out. My biggest concern is where we're going to end up. And so that is why I'm asking some of these questions, because I'm a bit puzzled and concerned about, by opening up a door, where does this, like, what strength, what teeth do we have further down the road? I'm not opposing or approving. I'm just gathering information so I can make an educated decision here. So I would ask, and I appreciate that the chair has approved my questions, I guess. It's just for my information, just so that I can make an educated decision. Thank you.
Madam Chair, with respect to the landscaping, so it was considered under section 913 of the land use bylaw, where that section regulates how landscaping applications, if it's part of a development permit application, it's usually built into that. So for example, if you build a dwelling, there is known landscaping when you're building the dwelling, and that's usually tied into conditions. In this particular case, because it was almost like a standalone use for this landscaping, we requested an application so that we had a site plan that we can see where the landscaping would take place and how far from the property lines, where the approaches and all that would be. So that was issued under the regulations of section 913 of the land use bylaw. And the temporary development, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to look for that section. If you could give me 1 minute.
Thank you. Councillor Stasiak, did you?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a quick question. If that dwelling would have not been on that property, would have that development permit still been issued? Or, because as I read this, I'm starting to wonder now whether or not both entities were combined, and that's how the development got added into an approval of the residence that was there. Should have that been a two-part development permit, one to address the home that was there, the other to address the landscaping / development further down to the north? Does that make sense? You look puzzled. I'm just curious whether or not that development permit would have been issued if that home would have not been on that property.
Madam
if I
Chair,
may-
that's a hypothetical question. We had an application and they made a decision based upon what the application was.
Okay, thank you.
If I may, there was, if council should choose to, there was a legal opinion provided for that. We could go into closed to have that conversation. Yes, you'd like to move to, okay. Councillor Kapitanic would like to go into closed. If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? Thank you. We're back from our recess now, short recess, back out of our closed session. I'm assuming council's satisfied. We do not need to go back into closed. Everybody's ready to move forward. Okay. So where we are is at, of course, 6.1 of your agenda. There is a recommendation here for second and third reading for redistricting and the land use bylaw amendment for agricultural to light industrial M1. Where would council like to go with this discussion? If I may, I could start. I know when I have taken several planning type courses and that kind of thing, and I always go back to that training when I look at these different redistricting files, and of course, looking at the use, looking at the location, looking at the legal permissibility, the process requirements, all of those things, area structure plans, all of that come into play for me. And of course, it's, you know, good planning focuses on the impact of the land use itself rather than, you know, the character or personal circumstance of the user. So this is not a personal decision by any means. This is strictly with regards to the use of the land. And as we know, when we redistrict land, it goes with the land. It doesn't go with the owner. It goes with the land. So I, of course, take that into consideration as well. And so for me, I'm not prepared to go forward with second reading just because of the fact that I don't believe M1 district is appropriate for that location. But that's my personal opinion. Council, anyone else? Councillor Chisholm.
So can I make the motion? That
Absolutely.
I'd like to make the motion that the piece of property stays with the agriculture zoning. So how to word that properly?
Madam Chair, so motion should always be in the positive. So to get the issue on the table, someone would make the motion to give it second reading. Ultimately, if you don't like that, you could vote against it. So, but the motion should be in the positive to give second reading as outlined. That's all. Doesn't matter which way you vote, but it should be in the positive to begin with.
Thank you. Yes, I concur.
I will make the motion in a positive way.
Okay, so you would like to go ahead to give second reading at this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Is there
Thank you.
discussion? All right, so Councillor Chisholm would like, oh, I'm sorry, I missed your hand. Councillor Hall.
I do want to say a couple of things. At the close of the public hearing, after that, we've continued to receive emails on the matter, which give rise to a number of questions that I don't think we have the answers to. I think most of those questions focus on a hypothetical future development. And I feel like some of the emails have hinted there's a problem with compliance with the existing permits, the development permits. And so I guess I would like to just double check with the administration. Can administration comment on whether the applicant is currently in compliance with the existing permits?
Madam Chair, members of council, there is an issued development permit and I do believe that they are.
Okay. So I think, some of us attended a Brownlee seminar a while ago, and one of the things that came up out of that was this reminder that hearings bring out, obviously, people who are affected, they bring out the most motivated, but they don't necessarily reflect the view of the larger community. And that was fairly clear at that Brownlee session for those who attended it. There are people who would support this, but just assumed because they supported it, the community widely would support it and probably didn't come to the hearing to speak in favor of it. And that could be to the detriment of the decision. I think our role is to make decisions that are right for the region. And we also know that housing is in short supply. And this is a proposal that affects the county's largest employer and largest taxpayer.
If I may, point of order, we're dealing with a redistricting, not a development permit.
We've strayed from that in the past, so I assumed the same courtesy would be permitted. But when folks are seeking to redistrict, they typically have a project in mind. And our role, I think, is not to micromanage whether there might be a slightly better site or not, but rather to ask whether the proposed land use classification is compatible with the planning documents and the region. And I think we want to consider like I may have said to you in other times, the message that it sends if our planning documents suggest one thing and then the council goes a different direction, and the impact that, how can we have confidence to do business if we don't respect our own plans? And so as far as I can tell, there is wide community support for this change, with the exception of a few people who I think it's important we take their view seriously, but also with appropriate weight. We don't know clearly how each one is affected. We don't know where they are relative to developments. But what we do know is that there is support in the community for the land use change, and I've heard it, and I suspect you have too. Admin has proposed some conditions. They've commented in the development packet or in the agenda package that might address some of the concerns that were raised. And it still seems to me there's far more questions and information required. We've heard that there might be questions about other pilings there. Are we on track? Is there enough electricity on site? Those I don't think are relevant to the land use change, but I suspect they influence the thinking. And so I'm wondering if it would be appropriate to refer this to the May 28th meeting to permit more time for council to think about it and reflect on it.
I'm not sure if that's a tabling motion that you would like to put forward.
I'd like to propose to my colleagues that we refer this on to a future meeting to give us more time to think.
I think personally for where I'm at, we've deferred that already to the April 9th meeting. The information that I've received and the information that is before us, for me, is satisfactory to move forward today. Councillor Mins, you had your hand up there earlier.
I guess the only thing I want to say is we're not here to discuss anything but other than to rezone this chunk of land, and does it meet this chunk of land meet what they want to have it rezoned to? And that's what we need to discuss, and then we need to think about, is the rezoning gonna open it up for something different, or that, so whether what gets built there is on page 27 of the agenda, and it says M1 permitted uses can have any one of these things in there, and it doesn't even come back to council. So that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at what's in there now, we're looking at what it can be. So that's the only thing I wanted to talk about.
Thank you, Councillor Chanzik.
I'll be quick. I am ready to move on. And I'm ready for the vote today.
How is everybody else? Are they ready to move on? Councillor Stasiak, ready to move on? Councillor Calhoun, are you ready to move on? Councillor Kaptaniak?
I'd just like to say one thing. I think what's been very clear is that we were instructed to not receive information after the public hearing, and I believe that this council has received plenty of information, if by accident and not our choice, by email, as Councillor Hall has specified perhaps in the community, just in our daily lives. And I just really encourage my colleagues to filter that out of their minds now and remember the instructions that the Reeve gave us after the public hearing.
Thank you. Counselor, are you ready to move forward? Yes, Counselor Chisholm, are you ready to move forward? And Counselor DeHolland? Okay. So I think
Recorded vote.
recorded vote. Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion on the second reading? All right, if we're ready, pardon me?
Can you read it again?
Okay,
Clarity.
I think it was Counselor Chisholm. Counselor Chisholm would like to give second reading of bylaw 006/2026 land use bylaw amendment to redistrict 7.89 hectares or 19.5 acres of lot 1, block 1, plan 08260088 from agricultural district to light industrial district. Okay, is everybody clear on that? If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? We have Counselor Hall, Counselor Calahoo, and Counselor Kapitanic, and those opposed. Counselor DeHolland, Counselor Chisholm, Counselor Chamzik, Reeve Mins, Deputy Reeve Mins, Reeve Holland, and Counselor Stasiak. Second reading has failed. All right. Which means the bylaw has failed. We will move forward to item 6.2 of your agenda package, which is bylaw 016/2026 land use bylaw amendment, part of Northwest 176819 west of the 4th. It's on page 29 to 39 of your agenda package. Once again, this is a second and third reading recommendation. This one is to redistrict 6.82 or 16.85 acres of part of Northwest 176819 west of the 4th from ag to heavy industrial. Would administration like to weigh in on the administrative report?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of council. So the subject site is located approximately 14 kilometers northwest of the hamlet of Grassland on the south side of Township Road 683. On January 29th, the county's subdivision authority approved a boundary adjustment adding 6.82 hectares or 16.85 acres from Northwest 176819 west of the 4th to Lot 2, Block 1, Plan 1721259. Condition number 5 of the approval requires the landowner to submit an application to amend the land use bylaw to redistrict the new area of 6.82 hectares or 16.85 acres to align with the existing zoning of Lot 2. First reading was given to bylaw 16/2026 on February 26th, and a public hearing was held on March 26th at 9:30 a.m. A registry of submissions was prepared and copies were circulated to members of council, administration. There were no members of public present, and the public hearing was closed at 10:50 a.m. The purpose of the heavy industrial M2 district is to permit opportunities of heavy industrial and manufacturing uses appropriate for rural locations as determined by the county, and Lot 2 has existing industrial development on it.
Thank you very much. Is there a counselor who would like to go forward with second reading or discussion? And okay, would you like to go forward with that now, or would we like to have any discussion?
There's generally discussion right after the motion, isn't there?
Yeah, we can. do
Okay, so
that.
I would like to make the motion that we give it second reading. If somebody else would like to discuss it, great.
Okay. Counselor Stasiak would like to go forward with second reading, and in discussion, I believe Counselor Mills, Deputy Mills.
I just want to make sure again on this add-on to this subdivision is it's added on to the same lot, right? This isn't a new lot. This is an addition to that, and then for their access.
Madam Chair, members of council, the subdivision authority approved the boundary adjustment to Lot 2.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you need clarity on that, Counselor DeHolland? Okay, you're good. Okay.
Okay. And then this may be throwing something out there, but can we not just redistrict the rest of the land to rezone the rest of the land to M2? So we don't have to keep going through this because all of a sudden this gentleman comes back in and he says, well, I'd like to have another lot. I'd like to have another lot. And then we got to go through another public hearing and that. Can we not just take the rest of this and just rezone the whole thing?
Madam Chair, members of council, the application was just for the new acquired area as per the subdivision conditions.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I do believe we should protect our, what agricultural land we do have, just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just looking.
Counselor Chisholm?
Madam Chair, I'm just going to throw this out there and to Deputy Reeve Mins. I'm pretty sure the reason that they don't want to rezone the whole thing is because it's going to cost them more in taxes. So,
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this item? Counselor Captain?
I just am curious if there is a concern about giving up more prime agricultural land in that community.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Counselor Chisholm.
yes, I think I can speak to some of the reasoning that I'm looking at right now. Haven't quite made my decision yet, but this piece of property is right on the Alpac Road connector right now, isn't it? Yes. So, and it's closer to the Alpac site, and he already has development happening there. So it makes me think that with the area structure plan that they had done back in, I'm not sure what year, that this area again, no different than the previous one, but it's on that actual road. It'd be nice to see that whole road with a higher M1, but if that's the way it's going to go with the Alpac, but that's just my thoughts.
Thank you. I do have a question, and it's probably in the administrative report and I've missed it, but just want to confirm the extension of this particular request. I guess it would be to the north, the section, the acreage to the north. What zone is that?
Madam Chair, members of council, lot 2 is zoned as heavy industrial M2
M2. So this would be just an extension to
to
that
complement it.
that current. And they, as Deputy Reeve Mins mentioned, access comes from the same place. It just goes deeper into that particular piece. Okay, thank you very much. Counselor Hall?
While the quarter section looks like it's attached to the connector, the subject parcel is not on the connector. It's accessed off a township road. I'm just going to say, I find it curious that, we just finished another discussion. And when we did the public hearing for this, to redistrict to M2, which has far more uses than M1, because it has all of the light industrial, all the medium, all the heavy. We saw a tremendous amount of communications from neighbors in that neighborhood when something was going down M1, and we heard, I think, zero opposition to this, and I just think the silence is interesting. That we're taking this to the proposal is to take this to a site that has far more uses and potential impact, and the neighborhood was absolutely quiet.
Okay, thank you. Is there any Deputy Reeve Mins?
The neighborhood was absolutely quiet because there's actual access. There's M2 all the way around this thing, and it's right off the road that we've done hard surfacing on and everything. It's there. That's why you probably don't hear a lot of objection to just extending this lot at M2. There's industry there now. This is an industry quarter. That's why I said, why don't we just rezone the whole darn thing and be done with it? And then if somebody wants to put something else in there, and they can do it. It's an actual quarter that is pretty well industry. So that's why you hear no objections.
Thank you. Councillor DeHolla.
Yeah, and also, yeah, some of the industry there has outgrown, and I believe that's why they're asking for more land.
Thank you. Councillor Capitania.
Just a question to administration. If they wanted to put a work camp, would they be able to put one there?
I
Would they
don't
have to
believe
come back
in,
to council to,
just looking at the M2 uses, it
Okay.
doesn't mention it.
curious. Thank you.
All right, has everybody had their questions, clarity? Everybody's good to go? Okay, Councillor Stasiak, if you're ready to go forward with the motion, let's get it here. Councillor Stasiak would like to give second reading of bylaw 016/2026 land use bylaw amendment to redistrict plus or minus 6.82 hectares or 16.85 acres of part of Northwest 176819 west of the Fourth from agricultural A district to heavy industrial M2 district. If we're ready for that vote, all those in favor? And opposed? I believe that's 8 and 1 or 2. You're for in 4? You're 4. So 8 and 1. Thank you. Would we like to be going forward to third reading?
I'll move third reading.
Okay. Deputy Mins would like to give third and final reading of bylaw 016/2026 land use bylaw amendment to redistrict plus or minus 6.2 hectares or 16.85 acres of part of Northwest 176819 west of the Fourth from agricultural A district to heavy industrial M2 district. Is there any discussion? If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? And opposed? 7 and 2. Thank you. We are moving to item 6.3, bylaw 021/2026, plan cancellation on page 40 of your agenda package. Would administration like to weigh in on the administrative report?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of council. On January 8th, council gave all three readings to bylaw 002/2026 which was a plan cancellation bylaw for this area. And March 11th, administration received a notice of deficiencies because it was missing a block number in the legal land description. I can confirm that we have now changed our process, so this won't happen again. So administration is asking that council consider bylaw 2021/2026 to allow for the consolidation of those four properties into one singular parcel.
Thank you. Councillor Chamsick.
I would be willing to give first, second, and if go right to unanimous if possible. And then do third.
I will start with that bylaw, or Councillor Chamsick would like to move that bylaw 021/2026 be given first reading. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Are there any opposed? 9 and 0. Councillor Chamsick would like to move that bylaw 021/2026 be given second reading. Is there any discussion? We're ready for the vote. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? Thank you. Councillor Chamsick would like to move that bylaw 021/2026 go to third and final reading with the unanimous consent of all those present. If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? 9 and 0. Councillor Chamsick would like to move that bylaw 021/2026 be given third and final reading. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Are there any opposed? 9 and 0. Thank you. All right, item 6.4. 6.4, bylaw 022/2026, water and sewer service charges. Page 45 of your agenda package. Deputy Mins.
I'll move the recommended motion for the amendment to the date and to give third and final reading as amended.
Thank you. Would administration like to weigh in on the report?
No, I think we've presented what you asked for.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion on Deputy Reed Mins would like to move? We'll do with this in two separate motions. Deputy Reed Mins would like to move that bylaw 022-2026 be amended by revising the effective date from April 1st to May 1st, 2026. Is there any discussion?
I'd like a recorded vote too.
Recorded. Is there any discussion? All right, we're ready for the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous. I will go through the names anyway. Councillor Hall, Councillor Callahu, Councillor Stasiak, Deputy Reed Mins, Reeve Holland, Councillor Kapitaniak, Councillor Chamzak, Councillor Chisholm, and Councillor DeHollick. Deputy Reeve Mins would also like to move that bylaw 022-2026 be given third reading as amended. Is there any discussion? Councillor Hall and then Councillor Chamzak.
I want to say at the beginning of this discussion, I do support better pricing for water on our residents. But I feel like the proposal in front of us, council hasn't worked hard enough, in my view. At the May 24th committee, the whole meeting, admin prepared a very detailed analysis of options for pricing of water to residents and families. And that would also help us to manage the ever-growing deficit on this service. And our unwillingness to discuss it for me just means another tax increase that I can't support because this translates to taxes. And so on that basis, I'll vote opposed to this reading.
Thank you. I believe if doing a little bit of math on this, if this should so pass, it would actually add just over $10,000 to our revenue stream. But we can discuss that when we get to the budget portion of things. So is Councillor Chamzak, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just wondering if Mr. Mintz, you would like this a recorded vote? Yeah. Recorded vote, please, when we get there.
Councillor Kapitaniak.
Sorry, I read financial approximately $10,000 deficit.
Yes, that would be at the budget currently at $6, but we're raising, if this passes, it would raise to $622.
25.
And there is a bit of change up when you look at the months that it was calculated at on the budget, but we'll discuss.
We
that
have it
when we
at
get to
625, 6.25. Do I have the right? name?
625, yeah. So then it would actually be a little more.
Okay, well, not 622.
Yeah,
sure.
pardon me.
And then, sorry, explain to me again how the approximately $10,000 deficit will become a $10,000 surplus.
Well, we could go there through the budget, but when you look at, we'd have to go further into the agenda, which I would be happy to discuss at that time. But when you look at page 160 of your agenda package, the calculations here on our budget are based on 424 out of 6 months for Collinton and 6 months at $6 for Collinton. If this passes, we actually have to correct. It was 4 months because it was be effective May 1st. So that would be at 424. And then we would change our budget from $6 to 6.25, which would then increase rather than decrease.
Okay.
Because it's based at 6, not 6.25. Counselor, or pardon me, Honorary Director Morton.
Just for clarification, our math works out to a deficit and it's based off the rate associated with water truck fills, not when you take in, because council's proposing that we don't raise to 622. And because of the significant volumes through truck fills, it works out to a deficit.
We can further go through that on page 160, because the truck fill is also based at $6 on our budget. Is So it hasn't changed, but I'll explain it because I noticed the 10,000 deficit was based on page 160, code 1440 for between the 23,000 and the 33,000 for Collinton. However, that's where I saw it, but we could definitely confirm that later.
Yeah, we did base it on $6, but our rate has gone to $6.22 from the commission. So we're losing 22 cents a cube. If we left it at $6 as was identified here, that's why I've identified the deficit.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion on this one? Okay. Deputy Reeve Mins would like a recorded vote, and he would like to move that bylaw 022-2026 be given third reading as amended. If we're ready for that, all those in favor? Councillor DeHollick, Councillor Chisholm, Councillor Chamzik, Reeve Holland, Deputy Reeve Mins, Councillor Stasiak, and opposed, Councillor Capitania, Councillor Calhoun, and Councillor Hall. Thank you. All right, we are moving on to new business, our strategic priorities, 7.1, page 51 of your agenda package. And we have a recommendation here that County Council adopt the 2026 strategic priorities as attached as Schedule A. Is there discussion on the report? Councillor, our Deputy Bins?
I'll move it. I'll move the recommendation that County Council adopt the 2026 strategic priorities attached as Schedule A to get the discussion going.
All righty. Is there discussion? Councillor Stacia?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to administration, I agree with this. This is a great job. Can you explain to me, like the now, what you call, I don't know, priorities? Can we do some at the same time, or we don't complete one and then start another one? Is that correct?
No, I mean, the truth is you're always working on some other things at the same time. I wish we could just say, folks, we only work on 5 things. Good luck.
I understand that.
But we don't. But if you're really talking about the majority of your time, the majority of your time should be focused on, council said they want the 5 things done before we move on. The reality is we're also working on all the other things
Yeah,
too.
no, I understand. That's sort of not really where I was headed with this. The way I see it is when we look at the water line, we can get that process going. And while it's going, can we be looking at the second one, like Highway 63 at the same time and do many things at once?
Every one of these is currently being worked on at the same time.
Okay, perfect.
They all are. Basically, all the top 5, they're all being worked on right now.
Perfect.
And they were before.
Okay, yeah, that's where I needed clarity because I thought, do we finish one before we start another? And so, no, that's great.
Just for
Sorry, Councillor Hall.
clarity, the timeline box, the year on all of those items is 2026.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Deputy Bins.
I like the way this looks. We got some priorities set here. Water line, 63 rescue grant, fire services, emergency management, road network plan. It's like everybody knows which way they're going. And as we finish one, we can bring another one up or I think I really enjoyed the whole strategic plan that day, them 2 days. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Is there any other further discussion? I guess I have a question with regards to one of the items here under advocacy. And it mentions the hospital helipad advocacy support through AHS in the province. And we had a conversation not too long ago that we removed that from our advocacy through our lobbyists. And I guess I'm concerned because we also had a visit from our MLA Van Dyken who came, and basically informed us that that would be an avenue that would almost be a waste of time, that our time would be better spent on advocacy for ambulances. And so I'm concerned about this one. Spending a pile of time on this when we had already decided that, you know what, it's not an area of advocacy we're going to go for. When I looked at, I mean, it was a rapid fire strategic planning session. I thought it also was great. But I also sat back and afterwards and kind of thought, you know, things can be swayed quite easily in the scoring aspect of things. And I believe that with regards to the helipad, that was a swayed situation. We could have done that with quite a few different other items if we had played that card to push an agenda that might not necessarily have been agenda of council or a benefit to the actual procedure of how this happened in the strategic plan. So I'm struggling with it. I'm almost I'm concerned about it. And I guess my question would be to administration when it comes to the advocacy portion, do we have an opportunity to vote or are we stuck with it in here as part of our strategic plan?
Madam Chair, you can change this chart completely.
Okay.
We're just reporting on how it was recorded.
Okay. And so when you mentioned Schedule A, it's just attached to our current, it would be Schedule A attached to the current one?
Schedule A will really be this one page,
One
Madam
page.
Chair.
Okay. Which does mention the advocacy there for the hospital helipad support for AHS. So in an effort to not to go down a rabbit hole that we may not ever be successful at, to advocate to AHS and the province. I would almost put an amendment forward then to remove the advocacy portion for the hospital helipad. That doesn't mean, because it's just so formalized in here, that doesn't mean that's not an avenue that we can revisit, but I'm concerned that being that it would be part of this particular priorities chart, that it would be something that we would be asking administration on spending money on that I don't believe is going to get us anywhere. Councillor Calhoun.
Thank you. I liked your comment. Like we still do need something there. So I like your comment then that we advocate for more ambulances, paramedics, something. So if we could replace it with something similar, because you know, the other hat I wear as a first responder, it is really important to cut down those waiting times. It does save lives. And if a helipad maybe is a little far out of our reach and more paramedics and ambulances is within more of a reasonable reach, I like to replace it with something similar, if that makes sense.
Thank you. And that could be an avenue that we absolutely change from hospital helipad to ambulance advocacy. For me, that is extremely important as well. And we have been informed that is the avenue we should take by the government.
So do we need a motion to amend?
If we make an amendment, yeah, we can go forward with that. Would you like to do that, Councillor Chisholm?
I would.
Okay, so the amendment would be to replace hospital helipad advocacy with ambulance advocacy. Okay. Is there discussion on that? Please go ahead, Councillor Hall.
I just find this astounding. We had a 2-day session to talk about priorities. We voted, we worked through a fair and democratic process to get to this list. And if in trying to pass it, we're now going to start going after our own personal projects, personal wishes, things that I wished were number one that I didn't get number one. This only works if we start respecting the will of council as the majority. And so if we approve the amendment, I would expect the next thing that should happen is a councillor from division, a different division may move to strike out one of the nows and replace it with paving the connector. Like, we went through a sound, reasonable process, and not everybody got what they wanted is number one. But it's time to start respecting the majority, the decision of council. And so this is something we should reject. I mean, we picked this stuff, we made this decision, we spent 2 days doing it. And now we're looking at it and we're gonna start changing it all. I just, it's really disappointing.
Well, this is part of the decision process. We had the conversation, of course, at our strategic priority session. And as you will note on page 57, the scoring that took place there that is based on two councillors putting a score there. So I don't believe that that was majority. Councillor Chisholm, did you have your hand up?
Madam Chair, you know, this is not written in stone, and if we've been advised that they're gonna waste some money and time on this, that's why I think making a change is probably a good thing for our residents and ratepayers here. So it's not a personal agenda by no means, and it's kind of in that same realm. So that's why I thought it would be a great substitute on the Schedule A.
Thank you. Councillor Chamzek?
As past council, we have gone around and round about it several times. I'm not going there repeating the same song and dance, but I definitely would be very interested to see the exploration and what ambulance advocacy can do for our community and residents.
Thank you. Councillor Kapitaniak?
I just don't see why we can't do both. I don't feel like we should have to choose when we're advocating for better health services for our rural community. I don't think that it matters which or what you have, and if you want to put them both on the line, I mean, that would be a great compromise, and then it wouldn't feel like someone's just picking and choosing what's on the list. But I think we should be, at any opportunity we have in front of anyone, be advocating for better ambulances, more funds for first responders, better Highway 63 programs, all of the things. So to me, it doesn't matter if something's on a list or not, and I'm in front of a minister, I'm going to advocate for whatever comes in that conversation. And it might be better ambulances and it might be a helipad.
Okay, thank you. I think I was clear in my point that I'm concerned we'd be going down a rabbit hole. We're not going to be successful in wasting that time. Councillor Stasiak?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I could agree with you. I see this as which one of the two would be in closer striking distance. And yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, both are very important to us. But I remember discussing this earlier in our term here that maybe we're not in a bind for a helipad, but we're more in a bind for ambulances. That's for sure. So I think I'm supporting the amendment to ambulance. I think that's a great idea. And at the time, we can also add helipad if it happens to come across our table again and discuss it then. But yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with reconsidering something after the strat plan. I was in agreement back then, and I think now that it's brought to our attention that one is a little more important than the other, that's not a big deal to me. Thank you.
Councillor Callahoo?
I also like the idea of having just helipad / heliport / ambulance and yeah, I don't know. We might fail at one, but we won't know if we try. So there's that compromise as well. So I'm fine with both.
Councillor Hall?
I'll just remind everyone that the same person who told us this is not within our reach was also the same person that told us to give up on AU.
Absolutely.
And
Point of order. Can we stick to the subject, please? I think we've grown.
part of the
I think
procedural
we've
bylaws is that
grown.
off?
Point of order. I'm saying to you now, stick to the subject, and I will mention
Just
those
one
types of
clarification.
that type
order
of disrespect
proceed.
is not welcome at the table. Thank you. It is mentioned in our procedural bylaw. Are we ready for the amendment, folks? Okay, Councillor Chisholm would like to move that we amend the draft strategic priorities chart to be ambulance advocacy rather than hospital helipad advocacy. If you're ready for the vote, all those in favor? And opposed? 7 and 2. On that, if we're ready to go forward without any further discussion, I'm not seeing. Deputy Reeve Minns would like to move that County Council adopt the 2026 strategic priorities attached as Schedule A to include the change from hospital helipad advocacy to ambulance advocacy. If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? And opposed? 7 and 2. Thank you. Item 7.3, I'm wondering if we're going, do we need more time than what we've got? I think, are we ready for a lunch? Yes. Okay, so I think it's best then we break for lunch, folks, rather than at this point. It's 11:55. If we could return at 12:25, please. Thank you. All righty. I think we're back in. We're good to go. Thank you so much. We're back from our lunch recess. I know just before I left, I had mentioned going into 7.3, but however, I was incorrect, and we're going into 7.2, which is the 2026 operating and capital budgets, page 74 through 178 of your agenda package. And I believe we have a presentation, and administration would like to weigh in on the administrative report as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, if I may, I got a short presentation which will kind of summarize our RFD and the changes that occurred since the February 12th when the council approved the interim budget.
Thank you.
So the purpose of this report or presentation is to present amendments to the 2026 operating and capital budgets. It's to reflect on updated financial information received after February 12th, 2026. It's to ensure our budgets align with current operational and infrastructure needs. And it's to seek council approval of the amended budgets. So just a little bit of background. Council held several budget meetings in 2025 and early 2026. The interim operating and capital budgets were approved February 12th, 2026. So the updated information received since that time: 2026 assessment values, education property tax requisition, Greater North requisition, and operational and capital cost changes. 2025 assessment overview. On March 26, 2026, Accurate Assessment presented the 2025 assessment for purposes of the 2026 budget. This assessment shows a 3% increase in assessment, which will assist with tax scenarios. So further to February 12th, capital budget adjustments, we had under equipment maintenance requirements, one of our trucks, the F-550, we added engine replacement, which costs $27,000. And I believe there's 3 graders, so grader differential replacement of $270,000 for a total capital increase of $297,000. Our operating budget adjustments. So major operating impacts for revenue changes. We did a transfer from operating reserve of $585,000. Dust control revenue increase of $38,900. And then there were some minor revenue reductions that totaled $34,000 for total revenue change of $589,900. Some of the major operating impacts under the expenses. GIS public viewing subscription, $5,000. Dust control increase, $54,900. This was due to policy amendments. Pardon me. Winter snow removal, $80,000. This was our snow clearing budget since we had and then fuel for gravel haul, $240,000. Increase due to recent price hikes, and this is funded from reserves. And then fuel costs, common services, $345,000. Increase due to recent price hikes funded from reserve. So this 240 and 345 is the 585 that you've seen under the revenue transfer. Continued operating budget adjustments. Expense adjustments, greater warranty, $40,000. Fire protection internet fees, $1,810. Medical oxygen rental, $1,500. Enforcement landline, $840. So total change in expense of $769,050. Other financial pressures, external requisitions. Education property tax is an increase from 6.46 to 7.88 million for 2026. This is roughly a 22% increase. The Greater North requisition, it's at 389,401 in 2026. This is up from 360,754 in 2025. And just some of the 2026 budget highlights, particularly capital. We have the Asphalt Overlay Program, $1 million. Alpac Bridge Rehabilitation Project, $1.9 million. Dodon Lake Waterline, $16.34 million. Increase to gravel for county roads, $589,000. and additional bridge repairs, 950,000, and then additional investment in the appeal reserve. And this is just our recommended motion that council approve the amended 2026 operating and capital budgets. So basically, this presentation was just kind of a summary of what's in my RFT.
Thank you very much. All right, council, who would like to begin? Councillor Chamsick.
Just going through some of the pages, there was a couple things that just kind of stood out on page 111, enforcement services, line number GL code, 2262, the vehicle rental. Just have a question. I'm assuming that this would be for the seasonal position. Why 24,000? And is this vehicle needed with enhancements or anything like that to be able to perform their duties?
Yeah. It's just one of our vehicles that we rent through Enterprise. So basically, all the vehicles goes through Public Works for Enterprise, but this is just one of the vehicles that we have.
So that's for the CPO vehicle, or I guess the question was, is it for the seasonal?
Yes, is it for the seasonal or to current?
It's current. It's one of our full-time.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chamsick, anything further before we move to Deputy Reed Mins?
Go ahead, Mr. Mins, if I find something else, I'll.
Yes, I'm just wondering, page, let's say 87. Under ag services there, we got 2262 rental vehicle equipment mowing program. Or I put down their mowing program. Can we rename that to mowing program or something like that instead of rental vehicle equipment? Because that's 373,000.
Sorry.
What page, 226?
Through the chair, I believe that's the big mowing, the mowing program. So yeah, we can change the name on it.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Right on, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Stasiak?
Thank you, through the chair. Page 105. I'm noticing in the reserves contribution from the town of Athabasca, do they not contribute to the transportation system?
To the chair, no, I think, no, they don't distribute, they contribute to the transportation operating budget, but for the capital, I think they made a motion that they will keep the capital, and once we purchase, like, for example, the Andy bus, we would just invoice them for their share and then they would pay it.
I see. Okay, perfect. One other question I had was right at the beginning, this 270,000 for the grader differential replacement. I'm assuming that's for those 3 graders that were not under warranty? Okay. Okay,
Through chair, that's correct.
good, thank you. So they got it at whether they needed it or not, is that correct? Or they needed it? Okay, good, perfect.
Okay. Confirmation has been made. Anyone else? Deputy Reed Mins, and then Councillor Chamsick.
Through the chair, yes, the loan payment that we got there is anticipation when we get our loan for the new shop, correct?
No, that one will likely relocate to the new shop yard.
So if it just remains here until such time? Okay, thank you. Councillor Chamsick?
The only other question I have on page 146 under recreational services, GL 2544 for utility charges. Just out of curiosity, are we really expecting an increase of like 10 grand? For it would be for utility charges?
And what code, Kelly?
2544. Utility charges near the bottom, fourth from the bottom.
Through the chair, yes, based on our 2025 actuals, generally, we built the budget based on what was, what our actuals were and what was submitted, so I believe that probably would be close to our.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. And sorry, that was Councillor Chamzik. I called you by your first name. I apologize. Anyone else? Councillor Hall.
Does administration have an estimate of the potential impact on taxes of these changes?
Through the chair, our goal is to bring the tax bylaw forward not next week, but the week after. In our original budget, we had planned for the total of 5, 3 plus 2. That being said, there may be a slight change because a couple of our assessments went down, but we don't expect to be a large impact or a large deviation from what we originally presented to council.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I just wanted to just talk a little bit more too about the change to the water rates. On the administrative report on page 74, it mentions a $10,000 deficit for the Collinton water rate, 424 for the first quarter. So that's what I was calculating when I was trying to figure things out when talking about earlier today. So on page 160, what I noticed, just so that we can, because I know it's kind of a hot topic. I'll get to it. So what I noticed under 1440 on page 160, that Collinton had 5,500 cubes at 424 and 5,500 cubes at 6. So I kind of gathered that that was just a split, 11,000 total for the year. And so when I looked at that, I thought, okay, well, it's 4 months. So January through April would be 4 months, and kind of back down the 5,500 cubes to what 4 months would be based on 11,000 cubes. Is that? Just curious if we get a bit more of a.
Through the chair, originally we had budgeted, so when we talk about a $10,000 decrease in revenue, originally we had budgeted the 622 for the truck fuels. So our numbers, the total difference for the 10,000, and it's just roughly under 10,000. For commercial residents, budgeting 46,017 cubes was roughly an increase of 1,380, so 1,380. So then the truck fills budgeting at just over 57,000, and the $6 cube was a decrease in revenue of roughly 12,576. Then we had for lagoons, 11 vendors, was an increase in revenue of $1,100. The sewer at a rate of potentially 35 to 37%, we had an increase of $460. And then for Rochester sewer and commercial sewer, it was roughly $330. So all those numbers added together give us a decrease of just over 93. So we had rounded it up to 10,000 to get that decrease in revenue.
And so that will all change now with the.
No, these took in the current rates like with that bylaw that you saw this morning.
Today was at 6.25 though for Collinton, Grassland, Wandering River, and the subdivision was 6.25. So the revenue I'm thinking will change there.
That's the number we used.
6.25.
Oh, you use the, okay, you use that number, but it's not that number here. So the budget, I'm assuming, will be adjusted for what was passed today.
Well, 10,000's in there. It's just that the rates haven't been adjusted in the comments.
Yeah, the description is the correct, is the $6, but the rates, the 2026 number is correct, but the $6.25 is not adjusted.
Oh, okay, so that needs,
So, yeah.
so that will all be.
So the numbers for the revenue was adjusted, but the comments, like the description under the,
Okay,
those numbers will need to be adjusted. So no effect on the actual overall dollars, just the description where you see sale of water. We didn't update those numbers.
okay, so that's the only thing to be corrected. Thank you for that clarity. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, pretty quiet bunch. Do we have a motion? Counselor Stasiak, would you like to make the recommended motion? All right, Counselor Stasiak would like to move that council approves the amended 2026 operating and capital budgets as presented and discussed. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Hall and
Just for clarity, because of the way the presentation was, and sometimes there could be misunderstandings, Greater North budget does not affect the county's budget. It just affects what we collect. And I thought that some of you kind of expected a question on this. The increase year over year. The annual increase on a $300,000 house is less than $2 from the changes in the foundation's budget. So I thought the stat would be interesting.
okay, thank you. Deputy Reed Mins.
Just regarding the minimum tax, that's going to affect this, right?
Through the chair, so that's what, when I mentioned, when Councillor Hall asked about our taxes, so there will be a couple adjustments. When we did the budget, we still had the minimum tax at $100. So basically that was with the 2 and 3, so there may be some minor adjustments, but I guess when we bring the bylaw forward the week after next, we will try and adjust it so that the budget is current, and then the taxes, I guess that will be up for this discussion at that time. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Stasiak.
Madam Chairman, should we then maybe table this till that comes through, or is that appropriate or not?
Madam Chair, technically, you didn't actually change it until we bring a bylaw changing the minimum tax. So today, that number is correct with your current tax bylaw. You could table it. It just keeps us from moving forward with some things.
Okay, no, we're good then.
Capital items and other things. It's, before you know it, it'll be construction season. We need to get to work.
Yeah, got it. Good, thanks.
And budgets are always amendable. That can happen at a later time. Okay, so we're not set in stone where we can, if there's something that needs to be changed, that can come forward. Okay. All right. Is everybody ready then? Counselor Stasiak would like to move that council approves the amended 2026 operating and capital budgets as presented and discussed. If we're ready for that motion, all those in favor? And opposed? I believe we have 8 and 1. Thank you. All right, 7.3. Thank you, administration. Appreciate that. Thank you. 7.3 Lakeland Industry and Community Association collaboration request on page 179 of your agenda package, goes till 198. So this is a recommendation for council's review and to provide administration direction. I'm not sure. Go ahead, Councillor Chamzek.
Looking at this, I think it's definitely something that I'm interested in. I was just curious, do we have any idea how this would affect the budget in any of these collaboration projects?
Madam Chair, until we brought it to council, we didn't reach out to them to say, what are you looking for? Because what if council said, no interest this year, we'll look at it for 27 or something. So we just didn't even follow up. We just want to check with council. Is there an interest?
I'm hoping so.
Okay, do you have a motion you would like to put forward?
If you have a way that you could eloquently say so.
What are you looking to do? Sorry, excuse me.
I would definitely be interested in well, seeing the projected cost to see if we really have a big interest, but definitely be interested in some of these collaboration projects as we see invasive species all over the place, Alberta invasive species all over the place. Every trade show we go to, we know that this is an issue, and being proactive, I feel, is definitely important.
Okay, so are you, in hearing, what I think I'm hearing is that you would like to direct administration to obtain some costs?
Absolutely. And
Um,
some cost and information on some of the available collaboration projects.
So do you want to pick and choose? There's boat washing stations.
Educational signage and enhanced early detection monitoring might be a possibility. And of course, resources are always good to know.
Resources, sorry.
I don't know, it says resources. Educational signage and
Well,
resources, if you look.
Yeah, that would be in the same educational signage, and resources probably would be pamphlets and those types of things, is my guess.
We have lakeside pamphlet boards and stuff where information is never a bad thing to definitely be placed.
And you're not interested in the boat washing stations?
It's a possibility.
So do you want that
Sure,
included?
hit and caboodle, get the information.
So in other words, the collaboration project
Absolutely.
as identified. All right. Is there a discussion? Deputy Bates.
Just wondering if if we're gonna collaborate, and this has got to do with Skeleton Lake, I'm taking it, right?
I would think every lake.
Well, yeah, but this is under Beaver River
Yes.
Stewardship program. I'm just wondering if there's any reach out to the two summer villages that are over there, Bondus and Miawatha, to see if they would collaborate also, work together with the Best County and Leica.
I think that would be an excellent idea. Could we
To start with a letter.
start with a letter?
Okay.
Maybe Salsa already is. I
Yeah,
don't
one
know.
of the
It'd be
groups.
Just information to find out.
Counselor DeHulick?
Are we into Beaver Lake?
Yes.
Watershed, 100%?
When I looked, I believe actually the main holding is the Amisk River is a part of the Beaver River tributary, and that holds the main feed, I believe, is Amisk Lake that also feeds out as well. It
Yeah, it's
is-
a little portion of for a stewardship. WPAC is the Beaver River, WPAC or like, or whatever it is. It's a smaller portion of it. And the water drains towards, Amisk River goes out into Saskatchewan. And I don't know what it hits then, but yeah, it's just in that little corner, and it picks up Skeleton Lake, probably Cricket Lake, probably Amisk Lake, Long Lake would come out of there, which would be Thorhill County and Nadi, so.
All right, I'm just kind of wordsmithing here, and I'll just write down direct administration to send a letter. This is not on the floor, just wordsmithing. Direct administration to send a letter, to the summer villages of Bondus and Miawatha to request if they have interest on collaboration projects as identified in the administrative report.
Let's start there, I guess. CA, do you have any advice?
Okay, is there any discussion on this? Okay, shall we make that the motion? Counselor Chamzik would like to direct administration to send a letter to the summer villages of Bondus and Miawatha to request if they have interest in collaboration projects as identified in the administrative report. I guess it would be LICA, LICA collaboration projects. LICA collaboration projects as identified in the administrative report. Okay, is that fair for everyone? If you're ready for the vote, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? Thank you, 9-0. And we are on to community event calendars, page 200 of your agenda package. I believe Counselor Chamzik, you may have some additions.
I do. On May 12th would be the Atmore general meeting, and then May 17th would be the Prospita a Graveside Blessing, and the 25th would be the Grassland Egg Society meeting.
Ag Society, okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Oh, Counselor Chisholm?
Buffalo Lakes Pro Rodeo is on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Buffalo Lake, sorry,
Pro Rodeo.
Pro Rodeo, okay. And that's 22nd through the 24th. Okay. Counselor Chisholm, or pardon me, Counselor Callahan, sorry.
All good. April 14th, 7 PM is the Richmond Park Hall Association meeting.
Okay. Is there anyone else? A busy calendar. Counselor DeHolick? Oh, we have a birthday girl. All right, is there anything else to add to the? Okay, do we have a motion? Counselor Chamzik would like to move to receive the April and May 2026 community event calendars as amended. We're ready for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, 9-0. 8.2 is our counselor meeting calendars for April and May, page 202 of your agenda package. I believe I'll just start April 8th can be, the tri-council meeting was canceled. On April 15th, AU has invited me to celebrate World Art Day at an event they have hosting between 3 and 6:30 PM. And council has also been invited for a Lakeland Tourism Week open house. Smoky Lake seemed to be the most viable one that they mentioned. That's 4 to 7. It's a drop-in on April 20th. And that's what I know of. I haven't gone through all of my emails yet, being away, but that's what I know of so far. Anybody else? Oh, go ahead, please.
Madam Chair, the two municipalities, the village and the town, got back to us with a new tri-council potential meeting dates. And between those two, they could really only make either May 4th or 7th.
I'm just gonna have a look. Everybody has a look at their,
It would be a Monday or a Thursday, just.
okay, I know I'm not available on the 4th, but that's just me. The 7th would work better for my calendar, but that's just me. Nope, that'll be the 14th. No, committee of the whole will be the 21st. Okay, where's council sitting for May, for the tri-council, 4th or 7th?
I'm good with either one.
Either one? Pardon, you're gone that week?
The 7th would be preferred for
7th.
myself.
Counselor Chisholm, 7th? 7th? Either. Counselor Stasiak, how does the 7th or the 4th? You're good? Counselor Hall? 7th seems to be the consensus. If we propose that one, and it's probably an evening, I'm guessing.
They always have been in the past,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I'm assuming yes.
Okay, and I'm sorry, who's hosting? Is it Athabasca or Boyle?
I don't know that.
Hey. Just so we'll figure that out another day. Is there any other additions to the deputy read minutes?
What is it? The 13th Alice Committee meeting was canceled. That's it.
That is all right.
And Madam Chair, I don't need a date, but the Summer Village of Mawatha did ask us if we had interest in meeting council to council, and I assume we do, so I'll just get back to them. I know that their dates are rather limited. I think they get better in the summer, so I'll just ask them for some dates. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great. Thanks. Go ahead, please, Deputy Reedmans, and then Councillor Chamzik.
The Summer Villages West have reached out and they're gonna have their annual spring meeting on May 30th, which is a Saturday. So
That's for all of council. Yeah.
is it all council? Okay, so just so we put that down.
Does that take in the afternoon, morning, evening?
Morning.
Morning.
Morning?
Yeah.
What time?
It's in the email. Hey, anybody else? Or Councillor Chamzik?
May 8th, Northern Lights, executive meeting.
And we just have one correction on April 16th, the 6 p.m. Town Library will be initials KS. And for Councillor Stasiak has accepted the position for there. Hopefully. There. All right, I think. Are you okay, Councillor Stasiak? Do you need? You're good? Okay. Hey, Councillor Chamzik? Sure, I'm just gonna double check in case they need a change for FCSS and Councillor Deputy Reedmans. Okay.
11th of May.
11th of May. FCSS, 11th of May at 10 a.m. Okay, Deputy Reedmans.
Just the 16th Portage College Board of Governors meeting. What time is that? Do you remember?
Sorry?
What time is that?
I have it here. I believe, I'll double check with her. I believe it's 1 o'clock. But I will double check and get back to you now.
You also, where it's at,
Sorry?
where is it at in?
We'll probably all tour.
Probably at the college.
Board of Governors. I'll get back to you for sure, just to double check on what the email says versus the letter. Okay. If we're all ready now, Councillor Chamzik would like to move that we receive the April-May 26th, 2026 council meeting calendars as amended. All those in favor? Any opposed? You're good?
I'm ready for a motion to.
Oh, okay, just give me a sec. 9-0 on that one. That's okay. She's fast. We are now looking for Councillor Chamzik who's want to make a motion to move into closed session. If we're ready for that, all those in favor? Any opposed? Perfect. We're in closed. Thank you. We are out of our closed session. We have one motion to make from 12.1, and the motion from Deputy Reedmans is to direct administration to discuss the regional model at the next Regional Emergency Advisory Committee meeting.
At a comment after.
Okay, if we're ready for that vote, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? Perfect, 8-0. Thank you. The comment is related to the motion or?
No, just related to a notice of motion on 26-150 for reconsideration, given that we dumped it.
Before we, 26, I'm sorry, what is the,
26-150
and what is that pertaining to?
pertains to item number 5.1.
And item 5.1, did you say?
Yep.
Unfortunately, because we've already had that conversation with regards to deleting that from the agenda, we cannot go forward with
There's
the
a
matter.
motion to reconsider 26-1.
According to, it belongs to the same matter. According to our procedural bylaw, I believe it is 13. Where are we at? 13.8. A matter shall only be reconsidered once in any calendar year. So I'm sorry, we can't accept it. It was reconsidered when it was deleted from the agenda. With that, I'm sorry, we cannot accept that notice of motion, and I will adjourn today's meeting at 2:34.